Hello, it's me, French Ted, and we are back for episode number 4 because we're in week 4 of April. So as the weeks go on, you know I'm going to fuck up those numbers, but either way, week 4, episode 4, let's go. Last episode we had the Battle of the Belts. I think there were only 2 title changes. Let's have a look. Orange Cassidy defended, Jade Cargill had a stinker of a match. Hobbs is got the tournament. Jamie retained. MJF lost but retained. New champions. Oh, skipped one. Retained. He was a new champion on another episode. What? Hold on. Was there not 2 changes? No, just the one. Just the one. Just the one. As you guys can see in my assistant alerts, we've got a bunch of people preparing gimmicks. That's because I went on a little signing spree. Mostly because, well, one, I wanted to add a tag division, or add a tag team. So we've got the Von Erichs. We'll see what they're about, maybe in a pre-show match on Rampage, something like that. And then I just wanted to widen the women's division a little bit more. Basically bring a few jobbers in, or some people that do have that potential. So I might as well show you them. We've got Sawyer Wreck. I've seen her before in TJPW. She's pretty cool. We've got, where have they gone? We've got Zeta. I think she used to be in WWE, like very briefly. I think she had a different name though. We've got Aaliyah James, who is currently with NXT. But she's only on a handshake deal, so I figured I'll bring her in, see what the fuss is about, and maybe sign her permanently if she's any good. And then I think, we've got 2 more. We've got Santana Garrett. She's just been around the block, hasn't she? So she probably knows what she's doing too. And then Alison K, which is weird because I signed Alison K, and on the same day of recording, she appears on AEW Rampage against Tony Storm. So my psychic clairvoyancy is happening here. Anyways, we brought those in. They're all likely to just job for now, but you never know. They might put in some numbers and then they might earn their way up the roster. And as you can see, we have 149 active workers at the moment, which is insane. I do think that post Double or Nothing, whether it happens in real life or not, I do think I'm probably going to have to do a brand split. Or we do a massive cull of wrestlers, one or the other, because it's just hard to use everyone and use everyone effectively, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We've got Dynamite tonight, but once again, before we jump into any show, we do have some backstage incidents. First one is with Yuka Sakazaki, and she created a fun and relaxed atmosphere after finding a discarded karaoke machine and started a pre-show competition. Fair enough. That's an interesting thing to happen. Good old Yuka Sakazaki can't speak a lick of English, so I'm assuming she sung, I don't know, the new Spy Family intro. That seems to be top of the charts in Japan right now. That's not anything naughty. I actually do listen to the Japan Top 100, and I think the Spy Family theme is like 3rd at the moment, so yeah. And once again, we've got QT Marshall spreading his nuts everywhere. Tips on psychology, tips on selling, and tips on psychology. And then Bryan Danielson as well, tips on psychology. At least Jade Cargill's getting these little tips from these veterans, because let's be honest, she really does need it. Like, she needs to pick it up, otherwise she's getting dropped, mate. I don't think we've chosen a venue for today's Southwest. We've not held a show here, so I'm assuming pick the best option. Walter Pyramid, that's where we are having Dynamite, and that is also where we will have Collision. But without further ado, let's get straight into the show. Okay, and here we are with our first pre-show match, Luchasaurus and Brian Pillman Jr. So in a match that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but pretty subpar wrestling, Luchasaurus defeated Brian Pillman in just over 6 minutes with the Betrayal. Luchasaurus got a fairly okay score, Brian Pillman just behind him. Nice, you know, it's a pre-show match, so we don't care too much. It's more just to get them out there and see what they can do. In the next one is some tag team action. Santana Garrett is getting her debut straight away, and she's teaming up with Sky Blue, someone who I'm very keen to push once she starts getting a little bit better. But yeah, so Sky Blue and Santana Garrett defeat Emi Sakura and Red Velvet with the sliced bread. 40 rating, not bad for, you know, the caliber of people in this match. And Santana Garrett straight out the gate with the best rating, although her old school face gimmick was adequate. But, you know, that doesn't matter too much. Moving on to, I believe, our final pre-show match. Lance Archer and Jake Roberts both complained a little bit that they haven't been used yet, which is fair enough because they hadn't been used yet. So chuck them in a pre-show and, you know, why not? And in a decent pre-show match, Lance Archer defeats Wardlow because Ted doesn't like Wardlow, so Wardlow is probably never going to win. And that got a 61, which is pretty good. Archer with a 60 and Wardlow with a 51. So Archer put in a decent number, to be fair. So maybe they were right to call me out. Let's see in the future what happens. But either way, let's get straight into our first segment or match of the night. And it is another round of our TNT tournament. Ricky Starks and Lee Moriarty. And we can see in 16 minutes, Ricky Starks defeated Lee Moriarty with the Rochambeau. And during the match, Big Bill also interfered and attacked Starks. So Ricky Starks, you know, defying the odds there, really, and defeating Lee Moriarty. And I'm sure Kenny and Don have got their eyes on this. 63 rating, not too bad. Got the show to a strong start. Ricky Starks only with a 55, though. Lee Moriarty with a 58. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. But Ricky Starks advances in the tournament and Lee Moriarty is knocked out. And we follow that with some singles action in the women's division. Nyla Rose versus Willow Nightingale. And Nyla Rose, in a pretty convincing manner, defeats Willow Nightingale, with the Beast Bomb. 48 and 45 ratings, respectively. Not that bad. And a 50 rating segment, so that's pretty good. Moving swiftly on. We have got a promo from PAC. So PAC is part of the TNT tournament, and I believe this is the final quarterfinal match. PAC versus Blake Christian. So PAC just comes out before the match, just kind of talks a bit of trash, especially aimed at Blake Christian because he's relatively new to being consistently on AEW, and he kind of sees himself as, you know, the only real choice to face Powerhouse Hobbs whenever that match comes. But it got the crowd hotter, so let's hope it kind of boosts this upcoming bout. 61, not bad. So in a decent match, Blake Christian comes out with the win. He defeats PAC in 13 minutes 49 with the Elia. And this obviously, as we mentioned, was part of the TNT tournament. So Blake Christian with a somewhat surprising victory. He got an overall rating of 52, PAC with a 72 and a 61 rating. That's kind of averages out between those two, really, if you think about it. Yeah, so Blake Christian is the final person advancing to the semi-finals. So if memory serves me correctly, I believe it's Miro, Konosuke Takeshita, Blake Christian and Ricky Starks is our semi-finals for the TNT tournament. I might be very wrong, so don't hold me to that. We'll take a look later. But yeah, Blake Christian is through. And this follows with a angle with Tony Khan just confirming to the audience and all the people at home that Sting and MJF will face each other one-on-one. It's been confirmed. Sting has had his checks. He's had his blood pressure taken. He's fit to fight. So next collision, so this Saturday, will be the contract signing of that match with Sting and MJF face-to-face. That got a 55 rating. Tony Khan did not do well with a script. Need to remember that because I forget it every time. Moving swiftly on, we've got a backstage segment. I told you that Don and Kenny would be there. Looks like they caught up with Ricky Starks after his victory and congratulated him, you know, and telling him that it was a very elite performance. Of course, Kenny and Don are kind of scouting Ricky, trying to get him to join the elite, and it looks like Ricky hasn't given them a definitive answer yet. So we'll have to watch this space and see what happens. But Ricky being picked out as someone who's elite is a massive compliment in itself. and Don and Kenny seem to be doing their best to lure him, you could say. But heading back to the ring, we've got some tag team action. Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida are teaming up after Shida returns to help out Britt Baker against two members of the Outcasts, Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. And Britt Baker and Shida come out on top in 13 minutes 38 when Shida makes Ruby submit with the full metal muffler. That's a naughty sounding move, isn't it? Shida once again killing it. She's great in ring with a 60 rating. Segment itself got a 65. Confusingly, Britt and Rebel are on different sides. This happened last time. I need to make that change. So Britt and Rebel do the gimmick change, or just bin. I think I'm just going to bin Rebel. We'll bin Rebel. Moving on. We've now got a backstage segment. Adam Cole is back. He may have a couple of bandages and such, probably around his elbow, ribs, you know, nursing them a little bit. But he issues a challenge to anyone in the BCC. He calls them out. Brian, Claudio, Wheeler, Moxie's meant to be there. Oh, he's off screen. Maybe he couldn't be asked to get up. They all come out to the ramp. Cole's in the ring, and he's like, I challenge any of you this Saturday, one-on-one, and I'll prove to you that I am not an amateur, and I'll show you what real professional wrestling is. And they all kind of stand there stunned, like Brian's kind of laughing it off, and Claudio just steps forward and just gives a nod. So it looks like we're going to get Adam Cole versus Claudio Castagnoli on Collision this Saturday. So, and once again, Adam Cole very poor when trying to improvise dialogue. What is it with these people and not being able to just call people out? It's not that hard, guys. So we're going to have to start slapping scripts on some people. But 62 rated segment, not the best, but we'll see. And then I believe this is our main event of the night. Dustin Rhodes finally gets his hands on one of the Bullet Club Gold members, which is Juice Robinson. And in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Dustin Rhodes defeats Juice Robinson in 11:54 with the reverse STO. So Dustin with a 51, Juice with a 46, which you'd say is a little bit embarrassing on Juice's part, you know, being a lot younger than Dustin, and also calling him out for being old, and kind of getting washed over by the old man. But 53 rated, you know, not great, but we weren't expecting, you know, a 5-star match out of these two. But post-match, of course, Jay storms the ring. So Juice and Jay just beat down Dustin Rhodes. So it looks like they are back on top. Bullet Club Gold trying to kick out the old. But then, who returns? Nothing but our no longer dyed hair, grey-haired big boy, Keith Lee, returns to save his good friend Dustin Rhodes. Comes in, just starts bashing the fuck out of Jay and Juice. Clears the ring, helps Dustin up. And it seems like Dustin's not on his own. We've got another oldie, you could say. I mean, Keith Lee's not old. He is old, but he's not like old. He can still do it. And that's the prime example of maybe why Bullet Club Gold are wrong. So it looks like Dustin's got himself some cavalry in the form of Keith Lee to help shut up Jay White and Juice Robinson. And that's how we end the show. I'm not feeling good about this one, if I'm being honest. Let's see how bad it was. Oh, a 58. Oh, that's not great. But you know what? There wasn't much to work with this week. Like, we had the huge fallout from Battle of the Belts last week, and we're kind of just building some things back up. I mean, there was no JAS on this show. Bullet Club Gold, no, not Bullet Club Gold. Blackpool Combat Club didn't really have a chance to do much. MJF and Sting are being saved for, well, and Darby Allin are all being saved for Collision. So hopefully that'll pick things back up. But we do not want to be seeing 58s or anything under 65 again. And yeah, we'll have to work hard at making sure that doesn't happen. But either way, it is what it is. You know, let's move swiftly onto Collision. So I'll see you guys there once I've booked that. And we're back. And I just figured that I would show the TNT Tournament Bracket because, mostly for my sake, I just wanted to make sure that I was right. And I am. So as you can see, in the quarterfinals, Miro beat Daniel Garcia. Takeshita defeated Robinson. Blake Christian defeated PAC, who was not happy about it at all. as you can see just here. And Ricky Starks defeated Lee Moriarty, which means in the semi-finals we will have Miro versus Takeshita and Blake Christian versus Ricky Starks. I think they are going to be on Dynamite next week. At least one of them will. I'm not sure if both will, but at least one will be on that show. So tonight we're a TNT Tournament free show. But yeah, I thought I'd show you that. And this is another issue with the big roster. So more people as the weeks go on are getting unhappy. So I think added to this list now is Darius Martin, Brian Cage, John Silver. And I'm assuming it's left off. So let's have a look. Yeah, irritated at being left off of Dynamite. Cool. Brian Cage is someone that I don't think I'm ever really going to use. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. He can always be picked back up. I don't know. But this is another reason why I think we need to trim the roster down a little bit. But that's in the future, Ted. We're in the now. Actually, we're not in the now. We're going to the past because we booked, not top events. We booked Rampage. Is it gonna? There we go. But this was a fairly decent Rampage. I thought I'd kind of go a little bit more out there, if that makes sense. So we open with Daniel Garcia. He seems to be Rampage Garcia right now, getting a streak of wins, I'm sure, to Chris Jericho's pleasure, defeating AR Fox this week in a 57 rated match. We then debuted Aaliyah James on Rampage again with Billy Starks. Against Diamonte and Paige Van Zandt in a 38 match. The stats weren't the greatest. I think we can see it if we click. Yeah, 28. A little bit lower than everyone else, which is not great. But, you know, she might get there. She might not. Who knows? Taz just chatted about Christian Cage for a bit, just talking about the disrespect from Cage regarding Hook and also the FTW World title. Which is obviously, I think, Taz's creation, or at least it stemmed from him. And then I figured we'd give the old Rampage YouTube viewers a title match where the House of Black defeated the Wingmen, Peter Avalon, Cesar Bononi, and Ryan Nemeth to retain the World Trios title with a 50 rated match, which was a 48 overall. So it was fine. Again, Rampages don't matter at all. But sometimes I like to throw in a little bit of spice. Yeah. PAC's not a happy boy. Didn't want to lose to Blake Christian no matter what I did. I threw in like flash pinfall, keep strong, you know, everything you can. And he was still angry no matter what I did. So I kind of took it all off and I was like, you know what? Because of that, Blake's winning clean. And he did. So go on, Blake. And because of that as well, actually, Blake Christian asked for a pay rise after that show, to which I accepted. Why not? Let's give him a little bit of Wonga just to piss off PAC even more. But let's go into the show where we've got a few backstage incidents. And again, who else other than QT Marshall passing on his wisdom? What is it this time? Psychology to Anna Jay. Microphone, great, to Preston, and more psychology to Jade Cargill. Nice. We are once again at the Walter Pyramid as we were at Dynamite. Let's hope we get more than a 50 whatever rated show, because that saddened my little French Ted heart. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, and we start with a pre-show match full of two debuts. We've got Zeta and Alison K. For this match, I didn't choose a winner. I just thought, let's have the newbies fight it out. And in a pre-show bout that had terrible wrestling and no crowd heat, Alison K defeated Zeta in 10 minutes with a submission, the modified Go-Go Platter. Interesting name. Alison K's badass gimmick didn't come across good at all. However, Zeta's badass gimmick came across as great, even though she lost. So the loser is more of a badass than the winner. Figure that out. But 38 and 41, that's not bad. Considering half of our women's division at the moment are low 30s, sometimes even in the 20s. I'll take a 38 and 41. That's pleasing to see for me. Yeah, the next pre-show match is Adam Page. Realised while I was booking this show, we haven't seen Adam Page yet, which isn't good. We should probably be using someone like him a bit more. So I think we're going to start seeing more of him in the future. But I thought I'd throw him in a pre-show match because he didn't really fit on the card for me. So he got a match against Sean Spears, someone who I think is pretty naff. I didn't mind the Ty Dillinger gimmick in NXT. It was fine. I went to an NXT show, one of the takeover that had Finn Balor and Samoa Joe as the main event in London, and Ty had a pre-show match. No, he didn't. It was post-show because it was Sami Zayn's return, because they taped NXT before and after, and he came out. The 10s were great. It's fun, little bit of fan interaction, but we're sick of that now, and Sean Spears as a character is a bit naff. So yeah, Adam Page over Sean Spears, 14 minutes. Adam Page with a 73. I mean, that's why we should be using this boy. And Sean Spears with a 48, which is why we shouldn't be using that boy. 66 overall, but again, it's a pre-show, so it doesn't really matter. Moving on, we have our first match of the main card, and it is the Young Bucks facing off against our new boys, the Von Erichs. And not a bad start, 71. So in a decent match, the Young Bucks defeat the Von Erichs in 11:58 when Matt Jackson wins with a moonsault. The Von Erichs got 51-44. That's fine. It's their first show. They're nervous. They'll get better because their team chemistry is off the charts. And then once again, Nick and Matt. They seem to interchange, I've noticed. Matt will get the higher rating, and then next match, Nick gets the higher rating. So it's kind of hard to judge which one of these is the better buck, if there is one. So Von Erich and, well, Ross and Marshall, I shouldn't really say Von Erich because they're both Von Erichs. They've got the Von Erich legacy gimmick, and it came off as great. So that's even better. Good gimmick, good teamwork. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Von Erichs can do. And 71 opening, got the crowd hot. Can't ask for anything more than that. And we move swiftly on to what probably should have been our main event if it wasn't for a certain contract signing later in the evening. But we've got the BCC coming out. So Brian and the BCC enter the ring. They're all stood in the ring and they're basically saying, "Come on out, Cole. We are waiting for you." Claudio's in his ring gear, ready to go. BCC are in their sleeveless hoodies. You know, what a look. That's got a 77 rating. So they're all in the ring waiting for Adam Cole to come out. And come out he does. Not as gay, I mean to the ring. And he's not alone. He's with Roderick Strong, who finally makes his debut for AEW. So he comes out and he says, "I'm not on my own, guys. Roderick Strong is by my side." You know, which, you know, it's a big pop. We love Roderick Strong, but at the same time, it's BCC's 4 guys, and you've just brought Roderick Strong. Like, okay. So they're all going to be ringside. It's probably going to be quite chaotic. But here we go. Adam Cole versus Claudio Castagnoli. 63. So in a bout that had good wrestling, a decent reaction from the crowd, Adam Cole, baby, defeats Claudio Castagnoli in 19 minutes and 40 seconds. 19 minutes with the boom. Adam Cole with a 68 and Claudio with a 65. 63 rated match. I really want Adam Cole to break into that 70s, and he hasn't done it yet. And I'm hoping, I wanted that to happen because of Adam Cole, but I think he just needs an opponent that's probably better than him. So down the line, if he does end up facing Jon Moxley or Brian Danielson, oh, slap my wrist, they'll probably break the 70s, let's be honest. But I just want to see what Cole can do, and so far it's just slightly underwhelming. But either way, Adam Cole gets the win, and it looks like Roderick Strong did a good job at ringside of kind of keeping the rest of BCC at bay, and kind of just to show you, if it lets me, it doesn't, but there we go, they're all at ringside. So yeah, let's move on. Cole seems to get the one up on BCC. Maybe Brian's a little bit more convinced that he is a professional wrestler and not just an amateur, but we'll have to wait and see. We head straight into a trios match between the Outcasts and Diamonte and the Renegade twins in a 50 rating, which isn't bad. I was expecting this to be a little bit lower, if I'm being honest, mostly because of the other team, Diamonte and the Renegade twins. So in a poor match, well, the Outcasts defeat Diamonte and the Renegade twins. I'm kind of sick of saying Renegade twins. In 5 minutes and 31 seconds when Saraya pinned Charlotte with a backstabber. So Toni Storm gets 53, Saraya 54, Ruby 49, and no one cares about the rest of them. Although Diamonte with 39, she's putting in some numbers. Yeah, I think they just wanted a win. The Outcasts, they seem to kind of get their ass handed to them anytime they face Britt, Shida, or Hater. So I think they just wanted to have a little bit of me time and just kick around some jobbers, and they got that. So nice. Let's move on, and we go straight into a tag team match where the returning Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes team up again for Naturally Limitless, and this time they defeat Ortiz and Santana, who aren't a tag team to be pushed around. So it's quite an impressive victory, and Keith Lee got the win with the Spirit Bomb. And sadly though, Dustin Rhodes was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else. If anything, that kind of makes me smile a little bit, because as long as Keith Lee's not struggling, because we love Keith Lee, let's be honest, everyone loves Keith Lee, and it seems to be he was the best performing in the match, so I will take that. 64 rating match, not bad. Yeah, so they're proving, Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee, that age is but a number in some cases, I guess. So let's move on. And post match, Dustin grabs the mic, puts his arm around big old Keith, and just calls out Bullet Club Gold, says, hey, we've just had a match, but we're still ready to go. We've got life in us, we've got energy in us. Come on, if you think you're all that, why don't you come out here? And no one answers. It's just radio silence. So Jay White and Juice don't feel like answering the call. Maybe they want to do it all on their terms, but we'll have to wait and see how that progresses. Moving on, we have got Athena, the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion, I believe, making her appearance on AEW, I think, for the first time in this series, and she defeats the returning Thunder Rosa as well from injury. So it's kind of a return match. And Athena defeats her in just under 15 minutes with the top rope stunner in a 60 rated match, which is quite good for the women's division. These are two great workers in the ring, so I figured this would be a good one. So Athena has an in-ring performance of 53 and Thunder Rosa 55. Decent numbers, with the right timing and etc. They could get some great matches between them or individually. So Athena getting a nice strong win, holding her Ring of Honor World title over her shoulder, but she's not done there. She grabs the mic and she references Jade Cargill from Battle of the Belts. Jade, you claim you're this dominant force, you're this, undefeated woman in AEW, but it seems like you hide behind an endless line of, nameless talent. Maybe you should put your money, or in this situation, your belt where your mouth is, because, my Ring of Honor Women's title is getting a little bit lonely. Maybe I want to add the TBS title to my collection. And then she kind of just drops the mic and leaves the ring to a crowd applause, because we're all happy. We want to see Jade actually fight someone, that's on her level or maybe even higher, because the Jade jobber matches have been complete doggy, and I'm not about that. So maybe Athena will get her chance soon. We'll have to wait and see. And we go backstage. Chris Jericho's got the entire JAS sat down. He's actually, he's got them sat down on the floor, because that's the kind of guy he is, and he's just letting them know, he's like, I'm losing patience with all of you. He's like, Jake, you injured Trent in the last match. Like, what was that about? Idiot. He's like, Sammy, you're a kiss ass. Like, stop kissing my ass and do stuff in the ring. Like, I'm tired of carrying you. Anna Jay, Tay Mello, what have you been doing? Nothing. Angelo Parker, Matt Menard, you guys have been crap as well, let's be honest. You're losing to people that aren't even tag teams. Like, you guys have been a team for years. What's going on? He's like, Daniel, you've been killing it in Rampage. Good boy. We love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Shake those hips, my boy. Mwah. But the rest of you, fix up. Yeah, Chris Jericho is not happy with the JAS right now. He's losing patience. And I do think some of this anger is probably, turned in on himself too, because, Jericho hasn't been doing the best either. Let's be honest. His ratings have been poor. He lost to Orange Cassidy at Battle of the Belts. So maybe he's kind of just getting the anger out on the rest of his boys, except Daniel Garcia, though. We love Daniel Garcia. And that's a 77, so nice one. And this now takes us back to the ring, where Sting and MJF are face-to-face across a little table, some chairs, doing the old contract signing for their match. Seems a little bit odd that they do a contract signing for a non-title match. However, Sting has requested this because he doesn't want MJF to weasel his way out of a match against him. And it seems like MJF is more than happy to oblige. Oh, and in a 91 rated main event segment, we've got the Sting and MJF face off. There's no Darby Allin to be seen. Sting has come out alone because it's slightly personal for him now. He's sick of MJF, and he just wants to look out for his boy Darby, but it's become more than that. Sting kind of wants to put MJF in his place himself. There's a heated exchange of words. Darby Allin is there apparently. I forgot. He's Sting's manager, isn't he? So Darby, I just hit the mic. Darby is there, but he's not saying much. He's kind of just brooding in the corner as he normally does. And they both looked great out of this. So MJF looked great. Sting enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. Little jabs at MJF's mum, because apparently MJF's mum hates him. Just a rumor. Don't take it from me. It's a thing out there. MJF just reels off about how Sting is just clutching at the straws of fame. Like, you've been there, you've done that. Like, we can't take that away from you, but just give it up, old man. Like, it's a little bit sad now, isn't it? And it just gets a little bit heated, and Sting's like, you know what? Like, I don't think it's enough to just pin you clean in the ring in a regular match. Like, I think we need to go a step further. And Sting writes in massive capital letters on the contract, no holds barred. And MJF's a little bit taken aback by it. He's kind of like, no, not happening. The crowd are kind of goading him. They're like, "Wah, you pussy," all that shit. And MJF, the ego gets the best of him. And he goes, you know what? Yeah. And he signs it, no holds barred. So next week at Collision, the main event of Collision is Sting, MJF, no holds barred. And that is how we close our show with a 71. Yeah, back in the 70s, come on. Yeah, great show. I really enjoyed booking this one. A lot of wheels are turning. Roderick Strong's debut adds another layer to the BCC Adam Cole storyline. Getting the Bucks back, especially the Von Erichs putting in a good performance too. Adam Page as well, the forgotten man. Athena looking strong and calling out Jade Cargill. What the hell's going to happen to the JAS? Your guess is as good as mine. All we know is that Daniel Garcia is the golden boy. And Sting, MJF. Darby Allin seems to be a little backseat boy right now, even though he was the number one contender and technically beat MJF too. So it's all up in the air. And you're going to have to tune in next week to find out what happens, just as I will as well. But thank you very much for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave, comment, like, all of that shebang. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.